can we run that back now that we're recording?
God.
Give us the Zealander smolder.
What's the tip to smolder?
The smolder is like you look at the lens, but you look through the lens into the photographer's eyes, and it's like that's like the blue steel.
That's how you got Juju, huh? You gave her this.
I don't know how the heck I got her. Way out of my league.
The Schachter smolder.
Oh God.
Sam Schachter, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show.
Gosh.
You thought you'd be learning his right side high line or defense? You're getting the Schachter smolder.
That's right. Whole new side
Or
of me.
Shotster.
Oh God.
The photographer
Never
gets some
lived
good
that one
shotsters of you.
The Shotster.
Team Canada, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having us back.
Dan Dearing, second time on the show
Yeah,
in 2 years.
that's right. That's our second
It's
year.
a good rate.
Every year you've been playing on tour. Well, pretty much.
Yeah.
You've been on. That's pretty good. I don't know if anyone else gets that. Maybe the TNT. I don't know. I just made it up. But obviously you were on tour before that, but yeah. You know what I mean.
Yeah.
Does that predate the podcast though?
Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
Yeah, it's fun now that we have sort of our annual podcast now.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are an annual podcast. You said Kristen and Taryn, when they pop in, we get our annual catch up with them. It's kind of fun.
You have to play well, you know.
Yeah.
There's a standard. Yeah,
That's
come on, Travis.
But so you've earned your annual podcast. That's what we're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
We'll take it.
You are coming off a win. Your last event was a gold medal.
Technically, yes.
In the not windy at all. Where were you? Punta Cana?
Punta Cana, Dominican.
Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't played that one. I've heard that as far as Norsecas go, that Punta Cana is one of the better ones.
Yeah. Definitely. That one was hilarious though, because I think like half of the courts got washed up.
Oh no!
From the tide coming
right.
up, and the tournament was like completely delayed. But I mean, that's pretty standard Norseca. If that didn't happen though, it would have been great.
That would have been weird if that didn't happen.
Exactly.
was
That's
good,
probably a
though.
little more accurate.
It was good. Like the whole community of all coaches like grabbed a rake and started going after each court. Like Heather Bainsley was there raking, working her butt off, and all the other coaches were trying to get it all back into schedule. But yeah, we like walked towards the court and like, no, we're not playing for another 2 to 3 hours, so we'll go back.
Yeah, so it's just a big storm.
Nope.
Oh, just a tide.
Just high tide.
Just high tide. I wish I could say it was a big storm.
The tides are predicted like 10 years out from right now, but they just didn't see it coming.
They're like, it's close, but we'll risk it.
I think you can buy like the 2025 tide calendar right now. But whatever.
It was the most like kelp I've ever seen in my life that had like washed up. It was like a sea monster on our court.
On the court?
On the court. It was insane.
We got indoor volleyball, we got beach volleyball, we got snow volleyball, grass volleyball, kelp
Volleyball.
Kelp volleyball.
Right. New addition. That's it. It was weird that Norseca was in December though.
It was a little pushback.
Yeah. Why did that happen?
Because they're unorganized and they can't do it on time. It was originally scheduled, or it was like supposed to be scheduled in November.
Okay.
Which is still kind of late, but they couldn't find a place to host it, and they kept on changing it. And like, you know, for an international event, there's like a 30-day sign up.
Yeah.
I think they made the event probably like 28 days before the actual event. So they announced it past the sign-up deadline. Can you imagine? It was that last minute.
Yeah.
Which was kind of insane. And I think everyone was pulling their hair out trying to figure out when the tournament was going to be, because you have to periodization and train and sort of like plan your trips and stuff. But that was stressful, but we got it together, and thank God, because there's really good points associated with those tournaments, which the Europeans never have to deal with the cancellation of that. And that was the first time we had hosted that tournament in 2 years.
Oh, really?
Yep.
I didn't know that.
Yep. Because every other year it was canceled since COVID. I think it was like maybe our first one since COVID or our second one.
Damn.
Maybe something like that.
There's challenger points, right?
Yeah.
But
It's like
you
winning
guys.
a challenger
Well
to
done.
win that
and
tournament.
the European event's way more stacked though.
That's true.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's true. But at least they have them.
Right.
And it's
Yeah.
like a
That's
a
true.
no risk one. So if you do really well, it counts into your points. If you blow it and you barbecue and you lose 2-0, it doesn't count towards any of your points. So it's sort of like
can only help you.
it can only help.
And I feel like playing one disorganized continental championship that's close to get to per year is the reward that the Canadians, that all the NORCECA federations get for having to travel all over the place to get to every other event on the schedule.
Seriously.
Yeah, it was cheaper and closer and warmer. It's actually nice to go, like, even though it was a little delayed, it was nice to go in December because it's pretty snowy and cold. We're inside, and then all of a sudden we're like, hey, Dominican, let's go.
Yeah, good call.
So,
But the training, what was the training like going into that? Because like you said, it's snowy, it's cold, you're inside, and then you go to windy, rainy, humid Dominican.
Yeah, we hadn't seen like the sun. We hadn't seen the wind in 3 months leading into that tournament. And it was like gale force winds when we were there.
Yeah.
Like it was crazy. We had to drop our sets. We were running back sets, which we don't really have to do that much in indoors because it's like perfect.
Right.
Like, you get your set and you like look at your opponent for like 5 minutes and then you find the ball right before you hit it. So it was jarring, but I mean, it took us a couple of games to work into it, and that's sort of the benefits of NORCECA, where you're not playing Mol Sorum in your pool play match, right? Like you're playing sort of some weaker federations, and it just lets you work into the tournament a bit.
Yeah.
But we actually had Cuba in our pool, and that was the team we ended up facing in the final. So that was
the
sort of like
7-foot
a
defender?
shock.
That's a 7-foot defender.
Yeah, he's huge,
very long
man.
and long strides, long arms, high contact point. Oh, yeah.
I mean,
It's like, oh, he's nowhere close to this cut. One step. Boom.
Yeah, he just falls down and he digs it perfect.
I mean, reminiscent of Nivaldo and Sergio when they were like came on tour and fifth at the Olympics, and they started making main draws when they started to play, and then they defected, and then they brought in two new guys who were, or at least just Nivaldo stopped playing, but they brought in two new guys, exact same profile, smaller blocker, long, skinny defender, same skill sets.
Well, the defender's Nivaldo's brother.
Is he actually? I did not know that.
99% sure.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Well, that totally makes sense.
Yeah, because Nivaldo, he showed up to all the NORCECAs that I went to and was there, like, helping his guy out.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, good for them. There you go.
Yeah, we got a break when we went to Veradero because Cuba's twos beat them in the semis. And then, of course, we got smashed by Cuba's twos in the finals. But
Damn. Yeah, they were. Yeah,
Can you imagine if Cuba's federation or country allowed them to play in the same fashion that everyone else gets to play? Like, you just, you're free or whatnot.
right.
But, like, dude, their indoor national team is, like, all the best players from every indoor national team are defected Cubans.
Right.
Yeah. You put them all together, like, they'd be the most ridiculous country for, like, decades.
Yeah.
Same as the beach. Like, they would be stacked. And they're just a small little Caribbean island. Yet they're not usually good.
Yeah.
It's just insane.
Well, they're good. They just never play.
Yeah, they
when
just
they
don't
do
play.
Get
That's
to play,
true.
It's like, oh, gosh.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that team that got fifth at the Olympics, I've never played them. I don't even recall seeing them at an event I played in because I was out for those 2 years where they were kind of running after the Olympics, I think. For whatever reason, before that, I didn't really see them, run into them at all. So it was like they basically didn't exist as far as I was concerned.
Yeah, they'll play 1 or 2 FIVBs. They'll play 6 or 7 NORCECAs.
Right.
Like win the continental berth
Yeah.
and then just completely surprise teams on tour.
Yeah. That was nuts.
Everyone looking at their Olympic draw is like, don't give me the Cuban team with 0 points. Because when we had Samoilovs on last year, Samoilovs was talking about they're running Rio. They came in, I think him and Smedens were like number 2 in the world. And their pool was Cayman, Ben, Latvia, Evandro and Pedro, and Cuba.
Yeah.
I remember that. Evandro and Pedro
Cuba
didn't
won.
make it out of pool.
Cuba won the pool.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
It was 2016.
Cuba won. Wait, Latvia was 2 in the world at that time?
Yeah.
Is that right?
So they were
crushing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that talk about that pool, because it was Cayman Ben came out, and Cuba came out of that pool. Dude. That is a pool of death.
That is
a pool of
a
death.
Olympic nightmare.
Which, speaking of pools of death, you guys, your world championship pool was insane.
Yes. Like, didn't have to be like that, and then became that when the team didn't show up.
So who was in your pool, and what happened?
It was, so...
Well, first of all, how'd you like my pool?
Who was your pool?
We took Sweden's
That's right.
spot.
Yeah, because the blocker
yeah.
broke
We
his
played
hand.
like Thailand and
Nikolai and Sam was the good team.
Right.
Thailand and Guatemala or something.
Right.
In the
Oh
first
my
2
gosh.
rounds.
That's unbelievable.
Let's get it.
That's the dream pool. We had the nightmare. Our pool was Poland, who was, I don't know, top 5. Ranked top 5 in that tournament.
Right.
Netherlands, who was the team that replaced the
Continental
African
tour.
team.
Yeah.
Verenhorst Van de Velde, right?
Correct.
Verenhorst Van de Velde. And who was our other team?
Rangiri Lupo.
Rangiri Lupo,
Jeez.
which is not an easy
In
draw.
Italy. Yeah.
So, yeah, that was a struggle and came down to like 2 points. Literally, we got out of the pool by 2 points. And Brazil, of all teams, or not Brazil, sorry, Poland, of all teams, were the one that didn't get out.
Yeah. And they were like the 2 seed, right?
They were the 2 seed,
Yeah.
I think, as well.
Coming in, had won like 2 straight events, and they didn't break.
Rumor they had COVID.
I did hear that.
Yeah.
I did hear that. They were
I
struggling.
think a lot of
Wozniak
teams
was not
probably
looking
had
hot,
COVID.
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But still, you broke that pool.
Yeah.
That's right. We did. I think it was actually Verenhorst Van de Velde that broke that pool because they
for sure.
beat
They
up
ended
on
up winning
everyone,
pool.
and then
Yeah.
we
Or came
like
second.
snuck past them, and then it was just a points thing.
But that's
Dude, yeah, that's gnarly.
that's impressive.
It was my first world championship.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to like keep it together because like everyone's like pool of death. I'm like, it's my first pool. And then we're 0-2 facing Netherlands 2-0. And we're like, okay, we have to win this. And then we also have to rely on Italy beating Poland. So after our match was done, like coach and like Sarah Pav and everyone's like checking the stats. I'm like, okay, we just came off a win, but we can still not make pool. And then there was like one moment outside of the cafeteria where like we found out, and Sam we're like let's go celebrating, and then we like look inside the cafeteria and I'm like, oh my gosh, everyone just watched that. And 15 minutes later we walk by Poland and we're like it's just a run of emotion.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But yeah,
That's volleyball, though. I mean, they ended up
Exactly.
winning, 5 tournaments
They won
last
a
year?
lot.
Wozniak and Brill?
They won 5?
I
they
think
were
so.
solid. They started off winning the first event in Mexico.
Yeah.
And then I think they
They won in...
They won
They
that.
won in
Did
Germany.
Sweden win that? I think they played Sweden in the final.
I don't know.
Anyways,
I
Yeah,
think
they-
I just
they-
assume
They
Norway
played the
wins
young
them all.
Chileans.
They beat us.
they played the young
Yeah.
Chileans in the final.
Yeah,
And
until
then
actually
honestly, I
Scala
think every
and beat
tournament
them.
Yeah.
always played, they've won except for European championships.
Really? Oh my
pretty sure.
god.
Who's that?
Brutal.
It's like Norway. I think every tournament that they've played this year, they've won except for European champs.
That they haven't had to forfeit out of.
Yes,
Yeah.
because in Germany they did pull out.
Yeah,
That's
I
correct.
think they pulled out of maybe 3 or 4. It was a weird stretch.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
But I was looking up when I commentated the World Tour Finals, and I looked up a stat that Anders and Christian are 24-3 in gold medal matches.
That's impressive.
God.
That's okay. It's like whatever. No, that's wild. Clutch.
Jesus.
That's a clutch gene right there.
Clutch gene.
What about their bronze medal matches, I wonder?
They've never lost.
They've never lost the bronze medal? I had
0
them on the
force
ropes.
on their resume.
Had them on the ropes.
They're closers, man. They are just closers.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
That's
But-
gnarly.
How was your guys' first year kind of together and your first year back? Because when we had you on, you hadn't really gotten going competing yet. You just you were in the honeymoon phase. And so how was it getting back on tour, back traveling, back competing at that world championship level?
It was good. I mean, it was fun. Like it was that first year is exciting because there's not a ton of expectations around the team yet because it's not like it's so new. We don't really know what we are yet. Dan's, first coming back after a pretty long hiatus, and we understood what that was, right? It was about him getting sort of the experience and getting used to the new level of the World Tour. So I think it allowed us to play looser, at least at the start. And then sort of once we figured out, okay, like we can actually hang with these guys. Like this is this could be something great. Then it becomes like, you start to encounter those first set of challenges where we're like, okay, these are our goals. We need to meet goals, and some you're succeeding, some you're failing. But, like getting world champs under our belt and sort of some of these bigger tournaments like Commonwealth Games really gave us some big game, big crowd experience for us to sort of hang our hat and be like, okay, now we can go into a new year. We know we have these experiences. We know sort of what we have to work on, how to manage ourselves. We know each other a little better. And there was a lot to build on. So, I mean, it was a lot of fun. There was, of course, frustrating times, just like any team would experience throughout the year. I think I would be concerned if there were no frustrating times because it means your expectations are way too low. But I don't know. I think I mean, you can speak for yourself, but I had a lot of fun. I mean, of course, you have the honeymoon phase, so it's like it's just fun being out with someone new, and it's world tour, which is fun, and to have success, which is a bonus.
Yeah.
No, I went into this year kind of like a sponge, just to soak everything up, learn from Sam, learn from our coach, and then go out there and put like a product on the court. And I kind of had to earn my stripes. I was a little worried at first. I'm like, okay, I'm playing with Sam, such a great vet. We'll see what this guy can do. So I told myself before I stepped on the court, I'm like, all right, great. I'm playing with Sam. I'm going to get every single ball. And I went in with that thought process, knowing that if I could handle every single ball, it's not going to realistically happen. That, we'll be able to find a groove, and then I'll be able to be more of like a dominant player. And guys like, oh, this guy's new. Oh, wait a second. He's 30. He's 32. He still knows what he's doing. So I sponged it all up. We had some great experiences, and now it's time to raise the standard even more. I think I've gained one stripe. 1 year, one stripe.
There you go.
Right? So I'm definitely going into this year with a lot more confidence and, learning more about each other and how we play in our systems, and knowing what buttons to push to get us to be even greater now than we were before. I think it's going to be a good year for us.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
How was it just traveling on tour and being on tour after such a long 5 years, 6 years? How many years were you not playing?
4 years.
4 years.
4 years, yeah. 2016 to 2020.
Because I took, almost 2 years off, and it was, like, crazy for me to come back on tour. I was, like, seeing everything differently and having a different appreciation. You did double that, at least.
That's a great question. I'm definitely learning how to enjoy the journey more, slowing things down, appreciating, being grateful for traveling, representing our country, and having this opportunity again and grabbing it. And then the second part is I'm definitely not 25, 26 anymore.
Right. It's more painful this time.
Exactly. It's like, I can get to that ball. Oh, wait a second. I'm not that fast anymore. I jump high. Oh, but I have to work on my landing, these knees. I need to oil these knees up. But yeah, it was definitely a challenge to come back. It took a full year to kind of get back into that routine. And I even realized when I was 25, 26, I wasn't doing it right. And then now having Sam as a leader and having a coach and having a plan, I'm actually like really dialed into what needs to get done to take care of my body. And then when my body's nice and healthy, I can focus on tactics and strategy and the journey itself. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
And Sam, you mentioned when I said you got to earn your way back on the podcast, you're like, did we? When you consider the fact that Dan hadn't played in 4 years.
Yeah.
At least not played at the World Tour level, and you guys got a silver at the Com Games. Mm-hmm. You broke that nasty pool at World Championships, and I mean, just qualifying for World Championships is not an easy thing. You got second at the big VanOpen, which is, I mean, that's your guys' Manhattan Beach Open, and then you did win the Norseca Continental Championships, which are huge points. And I know it's not the strongest field, but to beat Cuba is not easy. Mm-hmm. So I think you guys did some very good things, all things considered. In the first year, you only played, 6 World Tour events?
Yeah, something like that. Maybe, I think around 6 is right. Yeah.
And when you look at, you guys did very well on the biggest stages that you played on, where you won a Continental title. You got second at the Com Games, which are huge, and broke pool world champs. I think all things considered, not bad.
Well, I mean, when you put it like that, bro.
Yeah, I guess you're right. We're pretty damn good.
We're the best in the world, whatever.
25-2, here we come.
Yeah, no, it was no, you're right. It was a good year. Like we had highlights. I guess my nature is to always look at the stuff that we want to keep working on and improving. So I'm like, I feel like there's more there. And I think that's where maybe that comes from for me, where I know how talented Dan is, and my expectations for myself is so high. And I'm sure, we can all relate to like the struggle between it's like enjoying and appreciating and being grateful for what we've been able to accomplish and the positive parts of that, but also the other side of the coin where we're like, man, we still have, there's still so much room. There's still all this stuff that we want to accomplish. And, Dan and I have agreed, it's like our ultimate goal is to go to the Olympics, 1A, and then 1B to do damage when we're there. Right. So, we have a ton of work to do still, and we had a whole off season to address a whole bunch of stuff. And when you're looking at ourselves last year, we're going, okay, well, like this is Dan's first year back. I'm hanging in there. I haven't lost a step quite yet. I don't think. So let's this is like the beach volleyball prime, right? Between 28 and 32 or so is like
depends. If you're from North America, it's
a little later.
It's a lot later.
It's a
34
bit pushed
to 39.
back. Right. But that's because all you guys go to college or
true.
and it's like you guys don't start your career until you're 24, 22 to 24, right? Like I started when I was 18.
On the world tour?
World tour started at 20. I started on the national team when I was 18. So I was like plucked right out of university.
Yeah.
Like I didn't even finish my university career. I still have 3 years of eligibility.
Oh, wow.
Because I only played for my university team for 2 years before the national teams that
Whoa, that is
you're
crazy.
done.
Now that would be a scam. You going back and playing indoor in college.
Dude, that's what I'm talking about. I'm going to coach and play.
Dang, I didn't realize that. Yeah, I played a little indoor after, so I probably could have come out a year, maybe 2 before I came out, but I was 23, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we're still playing. So like
We
the
are.
reps on
Right.
the body, I mean, playing indoor doesn't exactly
Doesn't
make your
help.
career
Yeah,
longer.
exactly.
Yeah.
For sure.
But it is weird that like Americans in general just play way longer than Europeans. Like you're like, oh, that guy's old. Like I was just looking at a European player. I'm just not going to say his name. Jump and move around. I was like, damn, that guy is like not jumping or moving the way he used to. And then someone's like, he's 36. I was like, oh, same age as Kamer. Right. Like same age as my partner who's like hitting OT. And I'm like, whoa, we just hit OT. Never seen my partner do that. Anyway, yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
Very
But I'm grouping North America in there.
That's fair. I mean, like, I do remember the occasional European guy going super late. Like, do you remember Kubala Benesh? Like those Czech guys?
The fact that you had to say, do you remember, says a lot. I mean, I could say South American too, because there's been some. I mean, Ricardo's still playing. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Emmanuel
perfect
played
example.
until 40-ish.
Which is wild, because those guys do not get an off season.
No.
crazy.
Like
longevity is
the
amazing.
reps that guy must have had through his career is like
Oh my God, yeah.
triple
Yep.
of like an average athlete.
Well, plus like Ricardo, it's one thing with Emmanuel. You're like, okay, you're like he's built like Taylor Crab, like
Right.
just so lanky
Right.
and light, just like flickering across the top of the sand. But Ricardo's a massive human being, and he's still playing. Not really getting out of the sand, but
But his
like-
touch is perfect.
and he's diving and he's got the
He thumps
touch.
the
and-
ball.
Yeah.
I mean, Alisson is
Alisson,
another
same thing.
sort of example. I mean, I think he's sort of shutting down his FIVB from what I heard. I think he's just going to try and do like domestic stuff. He might try and
Yeah.
finish out the
I heard he
cycle.
was
But,
maybe coming over here.
right, that's what I heard too.
Yeah,
But that guy is not exactly
thing.
built like Taylor either.
I mean, you're not built like Taylor when your nickname's the Mammoth.
Bug, mammoth, it's,
Bug, yeah, exactly.
That'd be hilarious. That team, the Bug and the Mammoth.
seriously, the mammoth's got fleas.
Beach volleyball and Ice Age combined together. But you mentioned that you use this off season to really iron out a lot of things. What were some of the bigger things that you guys were looking to improve? And if you don't want to get too specific, don't need to give teams a scouting report on you. You don't need to, but.
Oh, no. I mean, I think it's like a lot of the things that a lot of teams look at. Definitely our defense is tighter. Dan is such an unbelievable jumper if you've ever watched him play that it's so hard to get the timing right when you're in the air for that long. And we worked really hard on sort of a lot of his block presentation, and then I've never played behind a block like that, so I don't know where the heck to stand. So
no offense, Pedlo. It's a little different look.
I don't think Pedlo would take offense. I don't think anyone in the world would take offense to being compared next to Dan and being not called a big jumper.
Right.
So it was a whole new experience for me.
Yeah.
And so just sort of learning how to coordinate that and be a little cleaner with our play calls, and then just how we pass and set with each other. The standard staples of any team, right? Like that's the absolute baseline. You need to be able to do that super effectively to play on the world tour, and that's why when people watch the pros, they go, "Oh, they make it look so easy." Well, that's like 90% of what they work on is their pass set, so they can side out properly, right? And a lot of that, and then just like sort of on an off the court side, it's like how to talk to each other and how to better communicate and how to connect and really understand what we need from each other when we're on the court. And that you can't really short circuit that. Like you can't really simulate that as effectively in practice as when like the lights are on and the pressure's there and you're feeling things come up that you have never felt before or that don't come up in practice all the time. So there was a lot of learning in that first year, but it happened so quick. It's like you blink and the season's done. So be really looking at, when you're in the off season, looking at what happened and trying to really create a plan of action for the off season, and practicing those habits are something that Dan and I put a bunch of work in, like with our performance coach and with our personal coach. So we've made some pretty critical adjustments, even though it's nothing like like we're not jump setting and we're not like running a crazy Swedish offense, which I think a lot of people are now trying to integrate into their game because that's the way the game is moving. But like we've been going a little more fundamental in our development right now.
For sure. I mean, I feel like a lot of teams it's like the 2 steps forward, 1 step back kind of thing. Like if you really want to implement that, and someone pointed it out on Instagram, was like, are we talking about a jump setting system or doing it every once in a while? Because that's a big difference there. And for teams that really want to actually implement that system, there's a big risk in doing it this year, because there could be that 1 step back that you're taking. Could be like this season or half of it or more. I don't know. It could take 2 seasons to figure out how to do that. So I'm interested to see like who really goes for it and who's kind of just sampling a little bit, testing it out here and there, maybe trying to get some Instagram reels going or something. And whether or not it like really hurts some teams. Because I feel like it will if you try to push it. And there's some players too. I'm like, you're just not a jump setter.
Not you,
like,
bro.
Why do you, bro? I mean, by all means, do like your like full swing, like left-handed pokey shoot set, which is blowing my mind that these guys are doing that right now. But yeah. I don't know.
I mean, you layer on top of that the hand setting rule changes.
Right.
It makes it so much more challenging, right?
Yeah.
Like guys are like the refs, from what I hear, are looking for lifts.
Flick
the
it.
number one thing you're going to do when you're jump setting is lift the ball. Is you're taking it down and changing the direction of it. So it's fantastic if you can do it, but like those Swedish guys, they grew. It looks like that's how they were just taught.
They've never played.
They've never played a normal ball.
Exactly.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
And it doesn't seem like that style is conducive to all environments. Like what happens when it's raining? What happens when it's windy? Are you still able to do that? Those guys, for sure, can still do that.
Yeah.
A team learning that system for the new time and trying to implement it,
Good luck.
I don't know. That's tough.
Yeah, I would love for you to try.
I mean, even
against us in the wind, like if you're not a jump setter too.
I mean, even if you saw Poland do that, when they started doing their speed stuff, right?
Yeah.
Cantor and Loziak
Yeah.
were like the originators of that entire style a few years ago. Like the first year of them doing it, like they looked tragic at times, and it took them a year.
Yeah.
And then they totally got it.
Yeah.
And then everyone's like, holy cow, we got to start dealing with this, and we're going to add this to our game because we see how tough it is to manage from a defensive stylist, like from a defensive structure standpoint. It's a nightmare.
At this point, I think it's more of like, who's going to figure out how to defend it first?
Right.
Because there's a set way how to defend 3-contact volleyball, and the 2-contact is like, well, the blocker can only be in one place or the other for the most part, or like a quarter block in both, you know?
Right.
So like separating the court and having 2 calls maybe at all times, and knowing in transition which way to go, which part of the court to take on the option and on the 3rd contact is like pretty insane, and a whole system in itself.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, not to give our entire strategy.
Oh my! I was going to share the
how do
story
we
out
do
of
it?
Mexico. I was like, all right, first tournament, here we go. We got out of the qualifier. Objective 1 complete.
You're welcome.
And then
Oh, Travis! You gave Travis the beat down?
Travis
We
and Sam, we had to
hashed
beat them in second
they
round.
like flew out the night before, last minute, and then we crossed over in the second round. I was
Yeah.
like, come on. Could have been anyone else. Moving on.
Can't lose
You
to a
would have been in
journalist.
our situation, so take note. Because we didn't
is
win
that
a
why we had
single
a good
game in
year?
pool.
We got a tough pool though.
We had
Wasn't sure
Sweden
about
right
Sam.
off the bat.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I'm getting used to a little bit of structure here with Sam, and like pressing, and like, you know, dealing with the pressure of like my own mental pressure. If it's my first tournament, I need to perform well. Boom, we have Sweden. Right. And coach is coming up with a game plan, and he's kind of like, you know, new to the men's game as well. And like, we're not sure what we're going to do. And I'm like, all right, so I have to go up, and I have to flash this way, and I have to run over this way, and I have to seal the line, and Sam has to slide this way. It was like my first match ever where it felt like a double game plan, because it wasn't like, okay, this is what we're doing on the 3rd contact. We're going to serve here and get them in this position. And if this, no, it was like, I have to take care of the 2. Read the cue, then go to 3. Oh, they hit on 2. And it's like, and then if they hit on 2, based on his strategy, it's like, do I take that or does he take that? Okay, 3rd ball, if I don't go and I commit to the 3rd, what is he? It was like mind blowing.
It's also like the starting position for a defender. Like sometimes you want to start like 10 feet away from where you are. But if where you want to be for the option is 10 feet away, you can't get to the spot you're supposed to be for the other one if you have like an intricate dive move or something going on.
I felt like
So
a
it's
rookie.
like-
I was like flashing this way, not jumping to like try to sell the
Scare 'em.
2 and then still be able to close. I was like, I'm doing this for the first time, and I was like, wow.
It's like
Good for them, because
Yeah.
like it was so much for me to think about when it came to strategy.
And you guys played them pretty close. One of the sets, I want to say it was 22-20.
I don't think so. First set they handled us pretty well. I think they won by 5 or 6 points, and then maybe the second set it was a little bit closer, 3 or 4
one of our
points,
sets
but
was tighter with them. The other one
Definitely
was
was.
like got out of hand. Yeah, it was difficult to do. You're not the only the entire world were rookies to that, so it was like, you know, no one could have really managed that situation. I remember like we're setting our calls up, right? And we're like, okay, this is what we're gonna do on there if they like 3-ball side out. Then this is what we're gonna do if they 2-ball, and then this is what we're gonna do if they run a back set. So I'm like setting that
Dan's
plan. I'm like, ready.
I
I'm like,
haven't played in 4 years.
exactly, try exactly. I'm like, all right, I'm back. Bump set, spike.
Just
bump
swing it.
set, 2-ball jump, pin set, back set.
it's okay. We followed that
crazy.
matchup with Brill Loziak, who won the tournament.
Yeah, thankfully
Oh my
that was a little
gosh.
bit more simpler though.
I remember Brill hits the first ball and it's like off of your fingers, and you were like, "Damn, that's high."
That's a high contact. That first tournament, man, I was like, I've been watching these guys for 4 to 5 years.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, like, okay. I'm like, okay, Nikolai, Lupo, I can't wait to like meet that team. I love watching that team. And watching TV, I'm like, Lupo has to be like 6'1".
Yeah.
Right? I shake hands with him. He's eye level to me.
Yeah.
He's like 6'4",
tough.
6'5". And I'm like, oh my gosh. And then I meet Ali San. I'm like, I'm his new blocker. I was just, wow, guys are so big.
Yeah.
And they play at like
It's
such
funny
a high
being like in an elevator with like
aggressive
the
level.
Dutch guys, and then we're like, damn, I got to play defense. Like, crazy.
It's funny coming back from a volleyball trip, and you'll go through Vons or whatever, and you go to checkout counter, and the cashier will be like, "Oh, you're really tall." I'm like, lady. You have no idea. I was just the smallest person in the room for a week.
Exactly.
But it's funny to see the game, the adaptation of the game, because it got huge so fast. I remember Phil always talks about it. When he first got on tour, he was like the third tallest guy. And then by the time he stopped playing international, he was maybe the top 15. But now you're seeing all these fast jump setting offenses. They're making it a nightmare to be big and slow, where now it's, I feel like being a mobile, athletic, 6'5", good jumping blocker is now what you want to be just to keep up with these offenses.
Could be, yeah. Or just Anders.
Or
Yeah. 6'8", but you move like you're 6'1".
Yeah, so either that or an alien. Yeah.
Yeah.
Robin Seidel has been waiting
Exactly.
15 years for that moment.
Exactly.
Oh, it made me so sad when him and Waller broke up.
I know.
That's my favorite team to watch.
They were great.
6'3" and 6'1". It's like, my guys.
Yeah.
Undersized heroes of the world.
Yeah.
That's what I whenever someone said what team to watch or like how to, who do you really look at to get better, I always said pick a guy who plays your position who's much smaller than you, because
Right.
they must have done something. Like they have to do the simple things really, really well.
Yeah.
And then be able to like be exceptional at their position from like a technical standpoint, because they have to really be flawless. Like you look at Zandy, which is Zandy Huber, which was Seidel's partner, his defender. You thought Seidel small? Zandy was like,
Oh my
5'2".
God. He was so
And
small.
he was
The Hobbit.
unbelievable. He was unbelievable
Yeah.
everywhere on defense.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't watch him for a side out because we can't play the same style. But I
Right.
was watching for his defense and how he plays behind maybe a smaller blocker. And it's like, okay, well, like if I play behind a big blocker, for sure I can play that way.
Right.
So no, it's amazing. You just pick out like everyone can watch Mullen and be like, oh, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Not everyone's jumping like that guy.
No.
Right.
Yeah.
Not everyone has his physical ability. So you got to watch someone who is more on your plane of physical level, who's made it. And that's like a great example of someone who to copy.
I love watching Seidel blocking because he does like a half load. You get all the way down, like, and you do a pretty good job of that too, where you're hard to see. But Seidel just does like a quarter squat, and he's still way over, and his hands are perfect every time. He's like the best guy to learn how to be a good undersized blocker.
For sure. Yeah. I like if I was to learn from someone, I always look at like the pound for pound players. Who's the best? I mean, even like just thinking who's the best volleyball player in the world, pound for pound. If you put everyone in the same body, let's say. I mean, I'd say Anders is still up there. That's why he's so good, like getting into this GOAT conversation. That's why he's just like a freak, like LeBron. And this was like, he's in this freakish body, but he's also like easily one of the best at all the skills. But yeah, Seidel, Adrian, for what he does with his body. Like, I mean, the guy's, he can jump and hit and stuff, but compared to everyone else on tour, the stuff he does is insane. His touch, his vision, his strategy and tactics is like, blows your mind. You put him in a 6'6" body, it's like he's competing with Anders for best player in the world. Probably, for sure.
Probably, yeah.
When Smedens was at his peak, I think he would have been pound for pound one of the best.
Yeah, how
and
tall
Pedro?
is Smedens? 6'3"?
Smedens is like 6'3", 6'4".
Pedro's probably 6'4". Right.
Because Pedro, I think the most remarkable
Pedro only
accomplishment.
6'4"? I would have said
He's
6'5", actually.
not as tall as you'd think. I mean, yeah, he's in that ballpark.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
I would've
he's
said the
certainly
same
not
as me.
6'6", 6'7".
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, but he won Blocker of the Year in 2008 when Ricardo was at like pretty good, when Alisson was at his peak, when Phil was at his peak, and it goes to 6'4" Pedro. That's pretty damn good.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
That's really
impressive.
good.
Dude, that guy's hands when he used to block, because I'd watch him in slow mo. I think he was
Yeah.
playing with I think he was like splitting with
He's like a
Andre or
frog.
something like that at the time. And he'd be like, you know, his hands would come up and they'd all be locked in like this. And I was like, I've never seen anyone choose that style. Everyone goes up and then they close. He was like ready from like on the ground.
Together.
Yeah.
Everything's just, that guy was for sure one of the best blockers when I came on tour.
Mm-hmm.
Is he with Alvaro now, Pedro?
Inside scoop, I think they might have broken up
Already?
because we're trying to coordinate with a team down because we're going to go after Mexico. We're going to head to Brazil, and we're trying to source some training partners and where to go and what's the best place to stay at and stuff like that. So I reached out to Alvaro, and I think they're not playing anymore, but it's not announced. So you're first, baby.
That's why we bring you on.
I got eyes everywhere.
Breaking news.
That's one thing that you guys do, especially, man, you and Pedlo when there was COVID. When you guys hit the road, you hit the freaking road.
Oh, yeah.
Holy cow. Dude. Canadians are built different. Like Jake, he stayed at my house the other day. He just has that massive suitcase. Yep. I'm like, how long are you going to be gone for? 10 weeks. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, I feel like it's open-ended. Like you guys are just like, till
I
go
love you,
home.
baby. I miss you.
I was going to say, my girlfriend's a huge fan of that. 10
for
weeks.
sure, right?
I remember last year we were traveling, and speaking of like, you know, how did you handle the long travel last year? I remember we had a 6-week stint where we were away from home, and I remember talking to him on week 5.5. I was like, hey, how are we doing? He goes, this is a long one. This is a long time away from home. And I'm like, just hang in there, buddy.
Me and Trevor were right there with you. We did a 6-weeker, probably the same time, around Rome. I think we went home after Rome. But same thing. We were just struggling. We're getting to the dinner, so we're just like, it's just, you know, you go to this, you're just eating with the same dude over and over, and just like, I don't even think we're going to talk this whole dinner. There's nothing else to talk about. And it's Trevor Crabs, so it's like, that's totally normal anyway.
Standard.
But it's just like, oh my God, 6 weeks on the road is long.
Yeah.
Grinding.
Which, luckily, I'm a sleeper, though.
Fantastic.
So, like,
sleeper.
sometimes we don't eat together because I'm sleeping, and he'll come up and be like, hey, Dan, breakfast closes in 20 minutes. I'm like, yep, up, go and eat, done, come back, sleep.
Oh, good for you.
Oh, good, yeah.
So
I can't do
that's
it.
a superpower to have on the road. I don't have that one.
The most epic sleeper ever.
No way.
It shocks me every time. It's amazing. It's like so good for your recovery to be able to do that. But it's like for me, it doesn't matter what time I go to bed. I'm up at the same time in the morning, and if I have a late night, it's a freaking nightmare for me the next day.
I'm the same way. Where Delaney's more like you, where Delaney's like, all right, I'm gonna go to sleep right now, and she's out for 10 hours. It's awesome. But congrats to you, by the way, on the engagement.
thank you very much.
Big
Thank
stuff.
You. Yeah, loved
Congrats,
it.
buddy.
I love her. She's the woman for me. I miss her. It's gonna be longer than 6 week this trek, but she's actually off to New Zealand to play in the first future, so I'm excited for her.
Sick.
Yeah,
Who's she playing with?
for her. She's playing with athlete Leah Monkhouse. She's a UCLA.
Okay. Yeah. He's
alum,
good.
So she's very good. And congratulations to you as well. You're going to be a father soon.
Yeah, by the time this comes out, shoot, might be.
Damn.
That's big.
Yeah, it's coming up.
I'm excited for you.
I'm excited too. That's like, I go out to practice. I'm like, I'm not going to be able to compete for another month and a half after Miami probably, so it's hard to focus.
I feel that.
But it's been fun watching, just watch Try, raise Naya.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Learned a lot. The beach community, there's a lot of Groms running around.
Yeah.
Right now, the players' tent's just daycare.
And everyone's pregnant. So many people are pregnant right now. I was talking to Kleinman, and she said her and her friend were talking about it. Another volleyball friend. She said they know 15 people that are pregnant between the two of them. I mean, this is like their group of friends and stuff, but like I know a few of them are in the volleyball world. It's like,
shoo,
nuts. So there'll be some friends for your kid.
There'll be a lot of friends. Whatever's happening in the South Bay, if you're not ready, Shanice can't visit. Something's going on here.
Something's going on.
Imagine. Next year, SANDCAST, Shanice is pregnant.
Do you guys think do you have any plans to cross paths on tour as of now?
I hope so.
Right.
I hope so later in the tour. I hope that we can. That would be.
Should get some W's and then
exactly
get up to the challengers.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
That would be great. Anything's possible.
Yeah.
That would be great later in the year to share an experience, to have your partner with you.
Heck yeah. How's that for you? You had your lady on tour for a while.
It's amazing. It's amazing. I mean, it makes the trips.
I thought it could be one way or the other. It's terrible or it's amazing. Like when they give you the post-game scouting report.
I mean, there is that. Like, you're so emotionally invested in each other's successes that it's like when she loses, it's like it's a bummer for me.
You're really going to hit a high line right there?
Yeah, seriously. No, we definitely don't coach each other.
Yeah.
Leave that to the side.
That's why I married an artist, basically.
That's smart.
Seriously. No, but it's like that's the main thing you miss when you're on the road, right? Is like your partner and your family. It's like the comforts of home is great, but it's not like, I mean, I miss my bed, but I miss Julie more. So, when we're traveling and she's able to travel, it doesn't feel the same as when I'm
100%.
traveling away.
Yeah.
So having a partner there is like a monster bonus. And she actually came out a couple weeks ago to LA to visit for a week because obviously 10 weeks on the road that we're about to experience. Mm-hmm. Shorten that out to about 8, sort of. But it's a huge.
Oh, for sure.
It is great though.
Huge thing to have
knowing that Canada's be hosting a couple tournaments this year.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
We'll be able to be at home and have more time with family, which is great. And also having the nationals, my fiance Shanice and Sam's partner Julie will be able to play in there, and they also all the Canadians go to the VanOpen as well, which will have family there too. So it's good to have there's gonna be a month block where we're gonna be the North, baby.
I've only played one event, I think, in Canada, like my whole career, and now this year we get to play in 2. At least we're planning on it.
Yeah,
I think we've only played in that Toronto event. Was the only thing
you got to bring that up to Came.
Yeah, I do. I love that. Fans came out there.
That's a big year for Canada, though. Getting an Elite 16, getting a challenge, VanOpen, Nationals. Pretty good stretch.
Heck yeah.
It is.
And why doesn't the U.S. get any? Nothing.
I was about to ask you who's putting on the tournaments in Canada, because it had been a while. There was a 3-star in Edmonton.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. A couple years ago, but that was kind of it since the World Tour Finals were in Toronto, I think, right?
Correct, yeah, I think so.
Yeah, like who's promoting it?
Yeah.
I'm not totally sure. I couldn't tell you for sure. I know the guy who's the promoter for Edmonton.
Okay.
I'm not sure if he's re-upped. Like, I haven't heard anything, but I'm just pumped.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's sweet.
It's like,
and I know I was laughing with Jake about it the other day because he's like, me and Russ are the biggest Sam and Dan fans. Because if you guys can get into the main draw of the challenge and into the main draw of the elite on points, then I think the wild card would naturally probably go to Jake and Russ. And so they're like, come on, boys.
yeah. I mean, same for the Olympics, right? If we qualify for the Olympics, they can try and get the continental berth. So we've had a very cohesive relationship, which is like sort of unusual because actually like Canadians, I think we were talking about this the other day, is like Canadians tend to be very competitive with each other. It's like a pride thing, just like the Americans are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But you guys were saying like there's a lot more on the line with the American competition, like the internal competition, because I guess like first of all, just like getting the support from the federation, like the karting rankings,
the stipend, and then your health insurance
and stuff like that. Exactly. So we're always into helping each other and training. We're traveling together. We share the same coach this year, so it's like a very big one, like a big team mentality and a big team feel, which is very unusual in beach volleyball because you're normally just you, your partner, and your coach, and everyone else sucks.
Yeah. 100%.
And half the time, your partner sucks, depending if you lose.
Right. Dan.
That's right, Sam.
Fair.
No. It's nice though. Like I hope both of you guys can come to the VanOpen this year.
Yeah,
It's
what
close.
is it over?
We were talking about earlier that Dan made a deal that we do have to play that together.
I did say that.
I'm cool. Wait, isn't it
That's
over
finals
something?
right
Like,
here.
no, thank you.
Oh, man, we'll see who pays. No.
That's fine.
Isn't Kamer the reigning champ?
Oh god.
Yes, he is.
Oh man.
Oh gosh.
Wait, is there a conflict though for VanOpen? I feel like
Portugal.
I looked.
There's
You
a
guys are
Portugal
done.
FIVB Challenger that conflicts
So
with
we'll
that
see.
event.
If we can take care of business earlier in the year, then we can all pick and choose what events we want to
right.
play.
It's a lot
Don't
closer.
let the schedule
Do you
force it.
guys? Would you ever skip VanOpen for a challenge, or is that just like the heartbreaker if you had to do it?
No, actually, VanOpen is like the dopest tournament ever,
Really?
and we love it there. Like the fans are unbelievable. Actually, both of our sponsors, like we have two sponsors that are based in Vancouver. Herbaland, yep, that's right.
Ready,
The
set,
classic
Gummy.
Herbaland guys, and we actually got a new sponsor, Navis, which is a clothing like lifestyle brand. And they're like custom, like, well, not custom clothes, but like clothing designed specially for tall people. So perfect for us.
Perfect
Totally.
for the audience on
And
SANDCAST.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
Where can people get some Navis gear?
Well, they have a site that you can visit and you can order online. They're a Canadian company, like they're based in Vancouver, so they deliver in the States. And I know that they are trying to break into that market, and their products are just unbelievable. So we love them, and it's like, you know, it's like your girlfriend's always, you know, like steal your sweater.
Right.
That's the sweater they're stealing. It's the Navis sweater.
So
What
just
a
buy it for
great
yourself,
tagline.
ladies. They should make a commercial right there. You can just cut that clip and send it to them.
Yeah.
How many VanOpens have you won, Sam? It's
Ooh, that's a great question.
gotta be a sizable number, I'd think.
Yeah, I think.
I love that you have to think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like, one.
I feel like it's 3 or 4.
Okay.
It's been a few. Like the problem is it does tend to conflict with with some FIVBs. In past years, I have chosen FIVBs over VanOpen, but they've really gotten it together, especially in the last few years. Like prize money's really nice. Obviously now we have a special vested interest in like a place at home there that we make time to go to that tournament specifically. And the competition is actually really strong every year. So it's not like we go to VanOpen and we're giving up playing good matches. We still feel like it keeps us sharp for the World Tour, right? So we're going to be going from that to Edmonton to Montreal without skipping a beat.
Last year was the closest I've ever come to losing a match on purpose in pool play, because I knew if we won our pool that we would see you in the quarters. Whereas if we lost that second match, we wouldn't see you or Troy and Came until the semis. I was like, Rat?
Hand setting every skyball, every serve. That's for the fans.
Don't pull.
No, come on, this guy. Then the second he starts doubling balls, they're like, he's got to be throwing the game. He's like, he never doubles. Perfect mitts.
It is such a fun event, though.
It is.
It's got my stamp of approval for sure.
Yeah.
Is there a comparable event?
Seaside,
Okay, Seaside, yeah. Still
That's
haven't played that.
and it almost has. Have you played Fuds? You haven't played Fuds yet.
No, but I hear the legend of Fuds from my friends who have played it.
So it's Fuds-ish, but way better, more competitive volleyball.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So it's a novelty, fun event for fans to come to, and like, are they just partying, or is it more like they're there for a good volleyball?
I think both.
A little hybrid?
Yeah.
Yeah, like they
That's
have
healthy. You need
they
a
have the
little both.
beer gardens right outside the courts.
Oh, perfect.
So one side is like sort of the sober fans who are like real intense, and then the other side is the drinkers who are chirpy as heck, and that's the culture there, where like
Love
you've
that.
got a skyball on game points, like you'll get chirped if you don't skyball on game
Dude, that's
points.
how it was when we were kids. Aloha ball.
Yeah.
And they actually have like I mean they've got vendors all around, and obviously they have permits for drinking on the beach, which makes it that party like atmosphere.
Right.
But they have courts all the way down the beach. It's right by like a high foot traffic area.
Yeah.
and it's on Kitts Beach, if you know Vancouver. So it's, I mean, if you love volleyball, you have to check that tournament out.
Yeah.
And it's great ball. Like, we were playing against Kame and Troy last year in the final, and it was a really highly competitive match, and everyone really gets into it.
Yeah, it was a great match, and I love that everyone respected how high level of a match it was. And on match point, I don't think anybody bothered to even call for a Skyball. They're like, this is too good.
Yeah. Oh, you didn't do it?
It's like World Tour level. It's literally the only match.
The only match where you didn't?
Literally the only match where they didn't call for Skyballs. And it's like, if the match is like an average match and you're down to match point, Skyball.
Gotta do it.
Gotta do it.
But like,
and I'm
like 2017, 2018, yeah, you Skyball. 22-21, depending on who you're facing, depending if it's like pre-quarter, you could do it. But for us, it was a third set. It was like 17-17 in the final. I'm like, I don't know.
We've all seen
to do that.
We've all seen Cam Skyball. No one wanted to see that.
And every year it gets better and better and better.
Yeah,
more teams from the States come. We had teams from Europe come, Brazil. Every year it gets better. There's more sponsors involved every year. More crowd come out. They have bigger TV every time on center court.
Sick.
And it's just becoming an annual thing that even the locals who don't play beach volleyball know that it's going to happen there.
How is the Canadian fan base, like, as a whole?
In what sense?
For beach volley, like, is it comparable to, like, how many people, not literally how many, but, like, know the top players and, like, follow the tour and whatnot?
I think you have pockets of fans who follow it.
Yeah.
I certainly don't think that it's like the fan base is as avid as the American, simply because I believe that you guys have a structure that allows, like, which is the AVP, that really they can follow that tour very closely, right? And it's very easy to follow. The time difference, effectively no time difference, 3 hours, right? So it's like being able to watch the NHL or the NFL, right? Like, you can make time to watch it.
Right.
Whereas when it's 8 hours forward in time and we're playing in Europe, they're not as willing to be up at, 4 a.m. in the morning to watch a match that's going on. Like,
it's the same as the American fans. Like,
right.
How many of them actually watch the World Tour? It's like Ed Keller, and then maybe that's it.
Right.
But Ed Keller watches everything.
Yes, he does.
But on the AVP tour, you have commentary who can give context to how they're doing on the AVP. Yep. You have SANDCAST, you have different podcasts who can give out that information. Like, I think you did a podcast about the Olympic run.
Right.
We have one, maybe two podcasts that might do that, and the following, I don't think in Canada is as strong as the States. You also have a plethora of teams who are very strong World Tour teams, whereas we may only have a couple who would be competitive at the top level. So it's a little maybe less interesting. I think if our depth was a touch better, if we had our own tour, it would be better.
For sure.
I think the interest is there, but it's also, for us, sort of like we really can only play it in half a season. You guys can sort of keep it going year round.
Yeah. And when people can't actually get into the sport and play it themselves, they're going to tend to not necessarily follow the sport quite as much, whereas we have a million courts here that everyone plays. They're like, oh, I play beach volleyball, I want to see the pros play, and kind of get into it as well.
That's cool.
Half the year, even more than half the year, it's hard to play in Canada because it's probably not courts available on every beach, lake
Certainly
beach.
Not. We only really have like one or two that we can go to.
Right.
No, it kind of similar. Like, you have Cali and you have Florida. It's like two sides of the country. We have like Toronto, we have Vancouver. But as soon as it gets warm enough, both communities are out there playing right away.
Yeah.
Like mid-April, early May. And both communities, as soon as it gets warm enough, they take advantage of the fact that they only have half a year to do it. So like our Toronto community, there's over 110 public courts available. And every weekend it's rammed with youth playing and growing the sport. And then in Vancouver, it's still a huge beach. It's not as big as Toronto. It's filled with such a great tournament, and plus, again, everyone's out there playing beach volleyball.
It's got to be cool to know.
Our two pockets.
It's got to be cool to know that there are that many youth playing and people playing volleyball, and you guys are the number one team. Like if they do get into the sport, obviously there's not that much content to follow in Canada. Like we have the AVP and all this stuff. But you guys are the number one team for these people, for these kids and youth.
That's why we're so excited that we can have the VanOpen, we have Edmonton, we have Montreal, and then we have Nationals. This is such a great opportunity to inspire the next generation of youth to be able to watch their Canadian men and women perform and have the opportunity of watching the best teams come from Europe and from the States and be able to watch the best.
Right.
So we're super excited.
I mean, to me, that's how the growth of the sport happens in Canada, right? Like, I make a specific point of trying to play nationals every year if I can. Like, even if my partner doesn't want to or is injured or for whatever reason, I'll pick up someone else and I'll play. Like, a couple of years ago, I played with Josh Binstock, who was my 2016 partner at the Olympics, and it was like we had so much fun playing together. Because I remember when I was coming up and I was like 16 years old, we watched our legends, which was like the Marquise and the John Childs and all those guys. And that's when I was like, I remember the game watching Mark, and I was like, that is what I want to do. And I just, it's so important to me to be able to sort of give that and pass that on to the next generation. And hopefully one of those, kids is like, wow, that's amazing. I want to get that good. I'm going to commit to beach. Yeah. Because indoor, it just dominates in Canada because it's so much easier. There's so much more access.
Totally.
And it goes all year.
Yeah.
You're making me feel bad for skipping Miami AVP. To go play internationally.
Yeah, but the entire future of our sport isn't on you.
It's so hard to pass up such a close FIVB, though.
I know.
They don't come to Mexico all that often. Although 3 times this year. Sweet. The Mexico events are fun.
And it's like a warm-up, like a perfect little warm-up for the Elite 16. Like, you want to go into the Elite 16 having zero international play on the year, or having one, a few hours away.
Yeah.
And a lower level one where we're main draw, top 10. It's like kind of a gimme.
Yeah, that's a high level challenger though. Holy cow! I was looking at the qualifier list. It's like, whoa, holy shit! There are some teams in that qualifier because you guys are the 8 at the moment, I think.
Like, something like that. 8th on the qualification list.
I mean, I look at all the tournaments, especially at the start of an Olympic cycle, are like,
yeah. Are you guys in Tepic?
We're not right now. I think we're hovering around 4 or 5 on the reserve. Okay. So we're sitting on the outs right now, and we're trying to. We're talking to our coach every day. Should we book the flight to Tepic? Should we just go straight to Brazil and start training? Yeah. So it's sort of hard to make that call because we're not sure if there's going to be dropouts, and sometimes do that pretty late, but it's going to be tough. It's a long shot right now. Yeah. Unfortunately.
Oof.
Yeah.
That's tough.
Those reserve lists, they get funky sometimes though. I mean, 3 days before you'll just end up being 15 in the qualifier for no reason. You just look at it like, 5 teams dropped out.
Yeah. You never know.
I feel like that happens all the time.
All the time.
Right?
Yeah.
Like more often than not.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because, I mean, like Dan said, me and Tim, before Tlaxcala last year, we were 6 on the reserve list maybe 3 days before. So we just bought our flights. Tim did some serious hunting down the Instagram rabbit hole. And he's like, I don't think these guys are going. Ukrainians can't leave. They're not coming. And so we just bought our flights. And we didn't know that we were in the event until the night before, but we had already got there.
Crazy.
So we just took a shot on it.
Jeez.
Yeah.
I think La Paz will be a good indication of who's going to go to Tepic. If you show up to La Paz, you'll go to Tepic. If you don't show up to La Paz, probably not going to go to Tepic unless you're in the main draw of the elite.
Yeah. That's fair.
And you guys have what, like a month in Brazil?
Yeah, it looks
That's
like we'll have
stretch.
like 2 weeks of training and then 3 back-to-back-to-back tournaments. It will be a long stretch.
Do you guys bring a coach on the road with you? Does Adam come, or
Yes,
Okay.
now he does.
Nice.
We had to sort of cherry pick a little bit because we have to fund ourselves and pay for our coach, and then all of the expenses that come along with that gets quite steep. But this year the FIVB came through with the charity fund for us because they target basically it's like a bursary for countries who are underfunded as it relates to their coaches who are a potential Olympic team. So we sort of hit that Goldilocks category where we're good enough that we're considered like a potential viable Olympic contender, but we're not funded well enough because we're not quite good enough. Right. We're like, our federation would be like, you guys are great. We're going to give you a bunch of money because we believe in you.
So to be clear, they're not saying that.
Well, they were like,
Jeez, Volleyball
you guys
Canada.
would be perfect for this. So
We found you some money.
we got to get better.
We're just not gonna
It really
pay
just
it.
comes down to we got to get better, and then our federation's like, we see you because you're getting results, and then the money comes. So right now we're being supported by our federation for sure still, but definitely the FIB is helping us
pretty
with
cool.
that area. Yeah,
I didn't know they're doing that.
yeah. You wouldn't.
I just get my coach paid,
Well, all these stipends are.
And that's a win on so many levels because then Adam gets to travel around and with Pav, kind
Right.
of when you guys are playing the
Huge
same
bonus.
tournaments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
huge
Canadian women. Be fun to watch this year.
real.
Mel and Brandy, I feel like people have been waiting for that team. And then Sophie and Pav, they're fun.
Yeah.
I think that whole partner swap situation, I think it's better for everyone. I think the partnerships make sense, and they both look incredibly strong.
Yeah,
I think it'll be interesting.
for sure.
Yeah, you guys, the Canadian women run pretty deep. Because you mentioned Shanice is playing with Leah Monkhouse. I feel like the NCAA pipeline has been helpful because I know
Agreed.
Molly McBain, is she playing with that?
Marie Alex.
Yes,
They're down
that
here.
one.
They just got here.
Yeah.
They're going to be training here with
She's
the
good.
American girls. Yeah.
Watching her at the VanOpen, I know she was playing with Heather, and Heather cleans up a lot of stuff, but I was impressed. I mean, she's good athletic blocker.
Yeah, she's
Yeah,
physical.
she came from the indoor national team and she's working hard.
Yeah, it's been fun commentating for Volleyball TV because now every
You're
time I
so
see,
good at it.
every time I see, but I do Italian league now.
Wow,
and there's a
okay.
lot of Canadians in the Italian league.
Okay.
And so you got a lot of good men too on the indoor side. I was like,
Oh, yeah.
holy cow!
Yeah.
You guys always have had some like serious hammers
Yeah.
on the indoor side.
Oh yeah, we had Gavin Schmidt for a very long time, like one of the gangliest, strongest right sides in the world at one point, and we have a few. Like we have Sherwan Evans. He's like touches like 12-6, hits the ball pretty high, pretty great right side. Stephen Mars been killing it on the left side.
Yeah.
like he just recently got like 27 points in a match, and like indoor
Him
team
and
has some
Eric
monsters.
Lepke.
Lepke, that's too.
Lepke's a monster.
Yeah.
It's a bummer because his team is awful, but he's all they got, and he was hurt, and so he was just like
Oh man.
taking half jumps and just trying to toe the block. But Steve Amar had a really good year. His team's going to make playoffs, and I think Lepke is. Thankfully, his team is finished.
Mercifully.
Poor guy.
Mercifully, he needed it. You guys are feeling fresh, ready to go, ready to attack the 2023 season.
Yeah.
Heck yeah, man.
Heck yeah.
Starting off with King of the Court, it's going to be
Yeah.
very fun.
Hell yeah!
Hell yeah.
Little
It's a
prep
strong
tomorrow.
field. Holy cow!
I was
is.
looking at that draw and I was like, what the heck, man?
Because
Yeah.
everyone's thinking just like a little exhibition warm up on the way over to Mexico.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you look at the team, it's like, yeah, that's not going to be a warm up.
Exactly.
You're thrown into the damn fire. Is
Yeah,
what it is.
exactly.
Strong pools, like in our pool, it's TNT. We have Qatar, and we have Chile. The
Okay.
Grimalds. So
And
it's
then
like
TNT.
Taylor and Taylor.
Oh, Taylor.
Sorry, I heard that.
I didn't know
and was
that's
like, all right,
local.
I'm going with it.
Yeah, stick with it.
Well, it was Try and Trevor last year.
Oh, okay, so both of you guys are just.
Let's
talk about that a little bit, man.
What are the girls? TKN, or
TKN.
something?
Yeah.
I can't keep up with this stuff.
Try's just so catchy. I don't think you need TNT for that.
Yeah, I'll take it.
But Wilco, the guy who runs King of the Court, I asked him how he managed to do that because Volleyball World and the AVP always, I don't know if they even bother trying to schedule around each other anymore, but Wilco is like, I'm going to schedule around Volleyball World, around the AVP, and also try to work with the city of Miami. And I asked him just how he finally got international volleyball in the U.S. again, because the last time we had it was 2018 in Vegas. And Wilco was like, I lost 200 days of my life minimum trying to get volleyball here.
You have to find the perfect weekend.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
And he did it. So he's bringing an elite freaking field to Miami.
Let's talk about that guy. He's a legend.
Yeah.
And to get that tour off the ground, like a format, and it was just, I mean, there was growing pains to that tournament. I was there right at the beginning, and they made some really strong adjustments. I love that tour.
Yeah.
And they're talking about bringing that to the Olympics. That's what they're trying to. That's what they're trying to push right now.
Yeah.
For L.A.
Okay.
So I don't know how that's going to work, but I
They're
think
talking
it's
about
like,
snow volley too.
Yeah.
I think snow's out. I think because they had their exhibition in 2018, and I don't think it went all that well.
I can't imagine you. Well, there's like threes basketballs in the Olympics,
Right.
which is crazy.
Yeah, there is.
So the IOC though, after Tokyo, because the Olympics I think just had their worst viewership numbers in a really long time, and the IOC was like, we're cleaning up some of these garbage sports.
Well, I just don't understand. Like, you already have basketball. Like, who's gonna watch threes? Like, none of these people could make the NBA.
Right.
Like, it's legit. Like, I'm not gonna say washed up, but guys that used to play in the NBA, maybe for a second, or played D1 and went overseas and
have a chance to win an Olympic medal.
Yeah, they're winning an Olympic medal, and then like Kevin Durant and LeBron and them are winning an Olympic medal, the same one. It's like, I don't know.
I feel like this is devaluing something here.
I do think that beach volleyball is deep enough where the king of the court would still get a solid talent pool.
It'd have to be the same athletes, right?
That's what they were talking about. Is the
Interesting.
people,
You'd have
the
to double
teams
up.
who qualify for because they were, we're like, how are they going to qualify? Like during the same qualification period that these athletes are qualifying for, the regular beach volleyball. It's like tennis singles and doubles, right? Like all the prestige goes with singles,
right?
Yeah.
But you can have some of those singles players playing the doubles.
Yes.
Interesting.
Right.
So that would have to be it.
Yeah.
I don't think you're going to take all the best players. How many? 24 teams?
Right.
And then go beyond that and then make another Olympic sport out of that?
Yeah.
And fans are going to watch?
Yeah, because I think about, swimming and track, because Michael Phelps can do 8 events, or Usain Bolt can do a handful. And so that makes sense that the same players could play multiple disciplines of same
And it's
sport.
not like snow volley where like some people are going to be better at snow volley or even threes or fours or something,
Yeah.
Like there's some guys that are built for that. It's still doubles. It's still the best doubles teams are going to be the best king of the court teams for the most part.
Right.
Yeah. So that'd be interesting.
Although those Ponowitz brothers are tough in the King of the Court. Those guys.
Who?
the German brothers.
I didn't see that.
Oh, yeah, I think I've seen them.
Dude, they're hilariously unbelievable at King of the Court. They get to like every final. I'll go and watch it. They're studs. I do feel like certain teams are built for that style.
Maybe a little
like
bit,
side out truckers.
Okay.
But you get Mol Sorum in there, and they're going to be just as dominant as they are, just because they're good teams are good teams, no doubt. But it does play into big servers, strong pass inside out guys, and then teams who are like can build rhythm,
Right.
right? Like guys who have low error percentage, will dominate that game.
True.
Because you can just build a couple points and then just chill.
Yeah.
It's no wonder it was made by a Dutch guy.
Yeah. That's like the Dutch way.
Right.
Serve hard, hit harder.
When music is playing, my side out goes up so much more.
It is a fun environment, that's for sure.
Yeah.
It's a really cool game. The only thing that I see in King of the Court is, especially when it comes to the Olympics, is like there could be potential room for shenanigans, in a sense where it's like
it happened in Hawaii.
Yeah.
With us. I mean, they were like, it was literally like King of the Court number 3 or 4 at that time.
Right.
But like, yeah, the announcer started saying, he just needs one more point, and they make it out, and they beat. Basically, it was me and Trevor So they just were like giving the other team free points, not knowing who they're beating out or what's happening. They're just like, let's all win here. This is great. And then we lost. I was all pissed.
Right. I could, you know,
like, I need a paycheck, guys.
You know, it's like, give me a free side out here, and like I'll get you back in the next round. Yeah. And it's like,
well, especially if it's your same country, right? In the Olympics, where we're not necessarily against each other as much. Now it's like you can get your countrymen to the next round because you have 10 points, they have 2. Yeah. Something like that.
Yeah.
It's true. So it could be a cool professional league, though, because you have a lot of players playing together from different nations. Yeah. Right? Like you have someone from the Netherlands playing with Cuba, someone from the States playing with Cuba. You had
Brouwer with Stoyanovsky was fun.
Right? So it's like it's entertaining that it could maybe not an Olympic sport, but it could be like a professional league. It could be like, because now you have a top blocker not limited to playing with a defender from his country. He can now pick from the lot. Yeah. Like, let's play together. It could be very entertaining. Yeah. Very entertaining.
I mean, shenanigans aside, like I love that format, and I think the crowds love it too. Yeah, it's cool. It is fast.
It's cool to look at a scoreboard and a clock.
Yeah. It's like a whole new element to the game that you just don't see anywhere else. And
and like you said, Wilco, I think, does as good a job as anyone of being open to player feedback and responding. He's not like a pushover, but he's like, you know what, this is good feedback. I'll take that, integrate it. Like you said, the first couple test events, there were some problems. Right. Now King of the Court's like a well-oiled machine now. Yeah. He's just been, he was joking. He said, we have to be the only organization in the world with over 300 people in our WhatsApp and no one's left. The group chat. Yeah.
Seriously.
There you go.
Because everyone wants to come back, and he treats the players really, really well. Yeah. Which we've struggled with in our sport at times. Player treatment from the organizations, right? Like, you know, it feels like sometimes we're at odds with Volleyball World or FIVB trying to get player rights improving. I don't feel like we're ever at odds with King of the Court. It feels like the second we ask for something, he's very willing to come out and give the players more support or help us in whatever way we feel we need.
Yeah. And it's cool because he works with the players. Like you said, he works with Volleyball World not only not to conflict, but to have events perfectly timed with them. He had the King of the Court right before Doha. Right. He had it right before Uberlandia, having this one right before Mexico, which is not easy to do.
Right. No. Yeah, they're messaging everyone on that giant WhatsApp group text, but then I'm also getting private messages from him like, hey, Tri, I'm just so happy that you're playing, and it's going to be so good to see you, and grateful. And I remember that moment back in Hawaii when the rules were all messed up and you were all mad, and it's like all this personal stuff, like taking so much time out of his day to just thank me, and even like being okay with it when I can't come to events. Like, we want you here, but it's okay if you can. I understand. That goes a long way. Rather than like, we schedule over other events and we don't really care. You know, we're like, we need to play we want to play in these events. It's like, well, we don't care. We're just not gonna worry about that. Yeah. So Wilco's dope.
He's dope.
We need him to run it all.
VanOpen's great. Wilco's great. King of the Court's great. 2023. It's going to be great. Urbaland's great.
Urbaland is great.
Ready, Set, Gummy. Navis, you're also great. Glad we had you guys back on for your annual podcast.
Thank you so much.
Where can our listeners follow along Sam and Dan?
Well, our Instagram game is better these days.
Oh, we're stepping it up.
That's right. Dropping the B-roll from
us? Sam Schachter. That's right. We got check out. We got some behind the scenes pre-rolling filming going on. We're on it. Yeah. So at Sam Schachter, SCHACHTER.
Shotster. And Daniel?
Dan Dearing. Simple, at Dan Dearing. It used to be at White Man Can, but that's gone. I went just for the classic, at Dan Dearing. But yeah, for the longest time, it was like, at White Man Can. I was like, at White Man Can. That's right.
That's proper.
We can confirm there's one white man who can jump, and that's Dan Dearing. Great to have you on, boys.
Thank you.
Thanks
both.
for having us.
Yeah, boys. Cheers.
Shoots. Cheers.
Shoots.
Shoots.
Shots.
Ah.
Tur.